All right, and we are back for our final part of volcanoes. So, you probably thought I was starting a list a while back when I said the 3 things that come out of a volcano: lava, pyroclast, and gases. And, well, we kind of started talking about it, and then seemingly I stopped. Well, I didn't exactly stop so much as we did talk a whole bunch about lava, right? Think about it. But we touched on a few other things while we were there. So we're getting back to that list properly now, okay? And we are at pyroclastic material. Pyroclastic material. So as we mentioned a while ago, pyroclast, pyro, fire, clast, rock fragments. This is stuff that comes spewing out of the volcano during an eruption. You're familiar with one of them, definitely, ash, okay? And if you've seen any Hollywood movie about volcanoes, you're familiar with this other one, cinders, because these are the things that they love to show flying through the air. I mentioned Roman candle earlier when I was talking about a volcano erupting. These are the ones that come flying through the air and smash into a side of a building or a bulletin board or through the roof of somebody's car. You know, when they want to show some horrific Hollywood kind of damage and chaos, right? They've got these flaming balls of fire. Well, they're real things, okay? No question about that. And they're one of the sizes of pyroclastic material. So you have ash. And you have cinder. We just talked about cinders. And then they have another category called block or bomb. Block or bomb. And again, these are all just bits or pieces of flaming. I wish I had more for this. I don't. Flaming lava coming out. The blocks or bombs are just really big ones. Okay. And why they have the word block or bomb, and that's bomb with a B, I think has to do with the shape of it. You see, these are more irregular, okay, and I guess the implication is that a block or a bomb, a block would be more angular. I don't know. These are cinders, at any rate. And ash is, well, ash, of course. So, pyroclastic material, ash, cinder, block, or bomb. All right. All right, so I just went off and onto the internet there to try to find some pictures, as I was grumbling about I didn't have any. Believe it or not, I couldn't find a picture of a little pile of volcanic ash, just these giant billowing clouds coming out of the tops of volcanoes. So I will keep on that journey. I didn't want to get too off track and go down some rabbit hole. But I did find a really cool picture of a rather fresh bomb here and a block. It's just a bit more angular. I don't know. It's kind of vague. Really, you guys just need to be concerned with them with regard to their implied or inferred size, okay? Ash is the smallest type of pyroclast. Cinder is medium-sized pyroclast, and block or bomb is the largest pyroclast. Okay, that's all. Didn't really want to belabor it, but all right. So that's it for pyroclast. Under the topic of gases, it occurred to me that I hadn't actually talked about one really important. And I'm going to just, in case I forget again in the future, the smoke that comes out of the top of a volcano. Okay. Well, what is smoke? That's a great question. But in this case, it's not probably what you think it is. The smoke that comes out of a volcano, that's huge, thick, billowing gray clouds, okay, mostly water vapor. mostly water vapor. And the color comes from the ash that's mixed in, okay? The ash that's mixed in with it. And I just want to get this across here, this is so important. We talked about this. Well, I didn't get a bullet point here. All right. We talked about this back when that introductory conversation about all about the Earth kind of thing. All right. The water vapor that comes billowing out of a volcano is the number one source of water vapor for the Earth as a whole. We told you back on, well, not day one, but way back when, that it's exactly how we filled up our oceans, okay, from the giant worldwide volcanism events going on and the water vapor billowing out of volcanoes. So by far, okay, the number one gas that comes out of a volcano is water vapor. All right. All right. Now, two other things to talk about. A Nuée Ardente. Nuée Ardente. Nuée Ardente, I'm told, is French for glowing cloud. Okay? And, well, that's a little too Disney-ish for me. I prefer flaming cloud of death. And I don't really mean to joke about that. This is a horrific thing, but again, sometimes when you insert humor, people remember things a little more. These Nuée Ardente, yeah, sure, if you are miles away and you see this moving down the side of a volcano, you might think it a glowing cloud, but if you're anywhere near it, flaming cloud of death is much more apropos. These are, we mentioned, remember the volcanic domes, okay? And how they're such a bad idea because they could close up, cap off the volcano, right? Well, what happens is that as the pressure and the gases and everything build up, you can have these volcanic farts, if you would, these gas leaks, and it's so incredibly hot, all right? And because of the nature of the compounds, they're very heavy gases, so they don't go off into the air very easily. When they leak out of the volcano, they kind of just move on down the side. Okay, they don't go off into the atmosphere. So you've got these boiling hot gases under high pressure whooshing down the side of the mountain. Okay, incinerating and or poisoning. I imagine you'd get incinerated first. Poisoning anything and everything in its path. These two have just taken out villages, towns, cities, whatever you want to call them, over the years. Horrific things. All right. Nuée Ardente, as I said, really just in my mind doesn't do it quite justice. And Lahars. Okay. Lahars, it sounds like it's plural, but it's not. A Lahars is a volcanic mudslide. Think about all these pictures of these volcanoes that you're now going through in your brain saying, oh, I didn't know that was a volcano. I didn't know that was a volcano. Every single one of these giant mountains is covered at what at the top? What are they covered? Yeah, they're covered in snow, exactly, right? So when this volcano erupts, if it's a sudden surprise sort of thing, you've got tons and tons and tons of ice, snow, whatever you want to call it, up at the top. Well, that melts almost instantly. And it rolls down the side of the volcano. Add into that, if there's any ash coming out of it, all right? But then think about it. As soon as it hits that tree line a little farther down, because you got your snow-capped top, and then a little bit of bare typically, and then you hit your tree line, where all your soil and your trees, your vegetation, your critters are, all right? You hit that tree line, and it just wipes out that whole area, and you get this slurry coming down the side of the mountain. Not as boiling hot as Nuée Ardente is, but just a bloody mess. Okay, so a Lahars is a volcanic mudslide, and it's caused by the melted snow and ice at the top, and it just mixes as a slurry up with whatever soil and vegetation it could find on the way down, mixed in with ash, and oh, it too just wreaks havoc along the anything below the bottom of the mountain. As I'm saying this, I'm feeling like I ought to go out and Google some more images. So when you actually see this here, well, actually you won't see it. So if I don't hit pause now, all right, I'm going to hit pause now. Okay, and we're back. I fiddling with this here. So I redid this one slide that used to say, and a couple others, something like that. And I changed that to Volcanoes and Gasses, all right? And under which we're going to discuss Nuée Ardente and water vapor. I also, in my research here, figured out, there we go, where to put the little foot thingy on the E there. Make it more French. So, and we already talked about what Nuée Ardentes are. There, I found they're not exactly glowing. I was a little bummed to find. I imagine, you know, at night they would glow. But that pretty much looks exactly like what I was talking about, except the glowing bit, right? This just steaming hot cloud of gas and ash rolling down the side of the mountain. And goodness gracious, you just don't even want to think about being in the way of that. So, Nuée Ardente, water vapor, the smoke, nice pretty picture there, some billowing out there. And again, just wanted to remind you that the water vapor is the primary gas that comes out of a volcano. Let's see here, primary gas from an eruption. And the number one source of the Earth's water. Okay, I think we're good. Thank you for your patience with that. Live updates as they were. All right. And then Lahars. I managed to find a couple pictures of Lahars. And this looks like a little visitor center down here. Picnic table. Just completely overrun. And then here's more different location entirely. But here's more of a bird's eye view, probably helicopter. The scale of what we're talking about here. So just a mess. Absolute mess. All right. These are just some old textbook images, and literally from an old textbook a long time ago. Just to kind of wrap up the discussion here. We've got layers. Okay, here we want to explain, reinforce, I should say, the idea that these shield cones form from multiple volcanic lava flows. The only thing I don't like about this image is that it doesn't have one clean neck. Multiple what they're calling feeders in here, but it's still a decent image nonetheless. Cinder cone, same idea. I really just ought to delete these two pictures. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that, right, since I'm doing such radical changes. I always say I really don't like these pictures, and here I go. Boom, gone. Boom, gone. There, I did it. Okay. Sorry, I'm amusing myself here. Mount St. Helens. What can we say? Mount St. Helens was a disaster. It was bad. It could have been a whole lot worse. Okay, whole lot worse. If you recall from the video, it blew out the side. All right, and that's one of the reasons that the mountain lost so much of its height. All this collapsed right here and crumbled down in, and you had some new elevation. You know, probably right about here. So it lost a bunch because of the collapse. But also, it could have been a lot worse. Because this was a unidirectional, if you allow me to conjugate as such. The eruption went in one direction instead of boom out the top and just went everywhere. It blew in a particular direction, which really limited the damage to it. Just another eruption here. Starting to think that there's little point to this picture as well. This kind of shows the what would happen during a Nuée Ardente. I'm going to delete this turkey too. Boom. All right, Wizard Island. Mentioned Wizard Island a while back. This is an image, really, that if I dragged it all the way back to when we talked about calderas, I was worried that the conversation would take us off point, so it's kind of just in here at the end. Shows us a magma chamber, and actually a magma chamber feeding a couple different volcanoes, which we talked about, right? And then we have this emptying of the magma chamber, which allows this collapse during an eruption. You're left with this sizable crater, circular, collapsed volcano, which we told you we call a caldera. Well, at some point in the future, one of these old vent pipes becomes active again, and we see it manifesting itself as a new cone in the middle of this caldera. And that's Wizard Island is. I imagine, you go back hundreds or thousands of years, and the Native Americans that lived here, they'd see this sputtering and whatnot going off in the middle of the island there. Now, perhaps they were familiar with volcanoes, perhaps not. You got to remember, volcanoes don't go off all the time. But something like this, I think, is fairly active. At least it has been for a while. And if you were standing around the rim and you see all this sputtering and fireworks going off out there and all these smoke billowing and perhaps nasty smells, you might make up some story that some old wizard lived out there, or whatever your word for wizard would be. And over time it just became Americanized into Wizard Island. But neat little place. I'd really like to see it someday. Oh, and then there's this. Just a second to absorb what's all in this image here. Over here you've got a shoreline, some old docks. These were buildings, probably many of them houses. You have a road cutting through here. All right. This is a Soufrière Hills. It's a 1900, gosh, I can't remember. Long time ago. And just I don't like to show you guys images of devastation. That's not really my angle. I'm not a Fox Newsy kind of guy. But again, when we're talking about something like this, we don't call them natural disasters for nothing. They can be pretty horrific. All right, many folks are familiar with the images of Pompeii, and you see these people, but even somehow that doesn't really register, I don't think. But seeing this ruined village, I don't know. Anyhow. And then I like to end with this. Okay. Kind of peaceful. Maybe looks like a fountain at the mall, right? This is a lava field. And in the middle of that lava field, we've got what looks perhaps like another cone starting to grow. And maybe someday this will be a volcano all by itself as well. But very pretty, very picturesque, fresh, new, and shiny. I do want you guys to watch this video. I'm not going to play it through my video for you. You've got the link for it. It is definitely worth watching. We don't have a whole lot of mad scientists left in the world anymore. There's a few, and God bless them, because we need, people to move ahead and explore and be crazy and do stuff that normal folks might be, might not do. You need to watch this video. Very cool indeed. All right, folks. Take care. Be well.